Chadwick Boseman, you will always be missed. May you rest in peace. Hey guys, what's up? We're back with another versus video. So I've been thinking about it, and I might post twice a week on this channel because I have so many ideas for videos that I have to wait weeks or months for to actually do. What do you guys think? Would you watch if I posted more? Please comment. Also, please subscribe to my channel, as well as my other channel that is listed in the channel section of this YouTube page, I guess you could call it. There you can find a review for the new Black Panther. Anyways, I thought of this video when I was thinking about the Black Panther movie a few months ago. It's kind of a weird versus, but still pretty interesting nonetheless. I almost backed out of doing this, honestly, but I actually think it's a pretty good fight. Also another thing for my end review. So, the video is like 10 gigabytes are supposed to be because it's like 30 minutes long. So, yeah, I'm working on the storage and everything, and it is still not working. There's a bit more things I can maybe do, and if not, the next weekend I will probably remake it, and I'll make it a lot shorter, and it won't be as in-depth, unfortunately. Okay, let's get on with it. T'Challa was highly regarded as one of the best fighters in the world. He typically fought with no weapons, and used hand-to-hand combat instead. He was the Black Panther. As the Black Panther, he was given the heart-shaped herb. The heart-shaped herb gave him increased strength, speed, agility, and reflexes. The list could just keep going. It basically gave him superhuman abilities. He had a suit that was made of pure vibranium and was impenetrable. It had sharp claws that could easily kill an enemy. His suit could also absorb the strength of blows and energy from them, and then redisperse it when he hit the person back. He fought with a shield that could be used offensively and defensively, and the handle was a pole that extended past the actual shield, and a dagger-like spear, which honestly I don't know the name of, but looked like a shortened spear, but was used like a dagger. He was a warrior who fought with honor. He had diligence and willpower as strong as a mountain. He was a king and the protector of Wakanda. He was very wise for his age, and also pretty intelligent. His intelligence in battle was also very high, but he relied on skill more than his battle IQ. But his battle IQ wasn't on the level of someone like Captain America, but still very high. Without the heart-shaped herb or his suit, he was able to defeat a very feared warrior in M'Baku. He won the fight after being disarmed and stabbed, while M'Baku still had both of his weapons. His dangerous skill in hand-to-hand combat won him the fight, as well as his agility. He mainly lost to Killmonger because he was unbalanced and less motivated than usual because of the deaths of his father and Zuri. Without going too much into depth, Killmonger was also probably better with weapons than T'Challa, as we see later on in the movie. But overall, T'Challa was probably better, and especially in hand-to-hand combat, and especially when they were in their suits. He was also able to body a rhinoceros, kinda, when in battle. He's very strong, which will also prove a challenge for Anakin. He could also easily dodge the gunfire from a Wakandan ship. His reflexes are superb. He was easily faster and a better fighter than Bucky, and was at worst on par with Captain America. Though he didn't want to hurt him, I would argue that he is a good amount superior to Cap, but he clearly was focused on Bucky, who was on par with Cap, but was kind of shit on by T'Challa. So overall, very impressive fighter. On to the chosen one, Anakin Skywalker. He was a prodigy, better than any other Jedi at his age. He was naturally very gifted with the Force, as he had a very high midichlorian count, over 20,000. He was widely regarded as one of the best fighters in the Order, and was a hero of the Clone Wars. He used a blue lightsaber that, other than having a larger hilt, was pretty standard. He used Form 5 of lightsaber combat, the Gemso. It was very offensive, but it had a very strong defense as well, and was one of the more well-rounded forms. He was very agile and strong with his attacks, and his speed was behind only a few. He also had a mechanical hand that was extremely powerful. He was very powerful with the Force, one of the best among the Jedi. He used simple powers like Force Push or Pull. He also used the Force to heighten his physical abilities like his speed or strength or his perception. He also used darker powers of the Force like Force Crush and Force Choke, powers a Jedi normally wouldn't use, but he more often used the Force in larger scale battles than in one-on-one fights. He was very aggressive during combat and was also really intelligent tactically in large battles and in one-on-ones, but not quite as much. He was also arrogant, especially after turning to the dark side, but he had strong motivation because he wanted to prove he was the best, to further fulfill his reputation and fuel his own ego. Fighting experience-wise, he fought many powerful warriors, especially over the Clone Wars. He defeated Magna Guards easily many different times. He fought Asajj Ventress on many occasions. He fought Dooku a number of times, though Dooku wasn't trying to kill him. He almost defeated Obi-Wan, but lost due to his own arrogance. He also slaughtered many Jedi at the temple. So, let's compare the two before we set up the fight. T'Challa is older, more experienced, but the experience wasn't on par with Anakin's. T'Challa is, however, wiser, probably physically stronger and more agile, and has more armor and an amazing suit that was made for battle. And he has better motives and was in general more determined than Anakin. Now at least. Anakin was faster, had quicker reflexes, and though he wasn't stronger, he had an extremely powerful right arm that was cybernetic. He also had better experience as he was trained as a Jedi and fought in the Clone Wars. He had a much better weapon, his lightsaber, which would give T'Challa a lot to worry about. He also had one weapon to change the flow of the fight: the Force. The Force gives Anakin a huge edge in this fight. Anakin has no armor, but T'Challa doesn't have the Force. Anakin is a much better fighter with weapons, but T'Challa is a better fighter hand-to-hand combat-wise. The biggest factor in this fight might just be Anakin's arrogance. Let's set up this fight. The scenario in question, it will be T'Challa during Infinity War against Anakin during Red Death, post Operation Nightfall. In this scenario, to even things up, we will say that vibranium can't be cut by a lightsaber. For weapons, Anakin will have his lightsaber and T'Challa his vibranium spear thingy and shield. This fight will take place in Wakanda on the outskirts near where the border tribe lives. Anakin's ship lands. He is in Wakanda to carry out his orders to begin a siege of Wakanda. First, he must kill the Black Panther. He exits his ship in his cloak. He sees walking toward him a being in a black suit, from head to toe, made from some kind of metal. Anakin removes his cloak. T'Challa speaks. "You are not welcome here. Leave or die." Anakin would be angered by this. He says, "I will not allow your tiny country to stand in the way of peace for my new empire. You must be dealt with." T'Challa would say, "Very well then, I gave you your chance." T'Challa runs at Anakin. As he ignited his blade, he jumped up and smashed his spear and shield into Anakin's blade. Anakin falls back and rolls before getting up and slashing towards the chest of his enemy. T'Challa kicked him in the stomach and in the chest, knocking him back to the ground again. He needed to keep some distance between them. Anakin picked him up with the Force and threw him 50 feet. T'Challa quickly realized that staying away from Anakin was a mistake. Anakin walked quickly towards him. T'Challa ran at him, again grabbing his spear and shield. He held his shield up as Anakin battered it. T'Challa attempted stabbing Skywalker with his spear, but he narrowly dodged it. T'Challa slid it down his back and pushed his shield, knocking Anakin back. Anakin grunted as he quickly swung his saber all around T'Challa. He knocked his spear from his hand, and as T'Challa held his shield up with both hands, pushing up, he rolled backwards, throwing his spear at Anakin, who easily dodged it. T'Challa then swung his shield at Anakin, doing moves reminiscent of Captain America. Anakin put his blade on the underside of the shield and pushed up, throwing it in the air, as Anakin used the Force to push it away. As T'Challa slashed Anakin with his claws, who yelled. He swung and slammed and slashed his blue blade into T'Challa quicker than anybody T'Challa had ever seen. He crossed his arms, blocking the onslaught before ducking under a swipe of Skywalker's blade and punching him in the chest, knocking him back 30 feet. Anakin began getting up, but T'Challa kicked his jaw and cut his robes as he slashed his chest and punched Anakin a few times. Anakin ignites his blade, sliding it into T'Challa's leg. As he fell, Anakin force pushed him, flying and tumbling 50 feet. Anakin recovered, and he was pissed. He ran towards T'Challa, who was getting up, and moved faster than he could comprehend, easily dodging every attack. Anakin's onslaught began as he realized this warrior's armor couldn't be penetrated, so he force pushed him. As T'Challa recovered, he did again, and again, and again. Every time he would get up, Anakin would send him flying backwards. He threw T'Challa extremely far once again. This time, he walked over slowly as T'Challa struggled to get up. Coughing and wheezing, Anakin looked down at T'Challa and grinned. When T'Challa punched Anakin's guts, sending him hurling back, T'Challa sprinted at Anakin. As Skywalker got up, he jumped in the air, ready to end it, but was caught by the throat in the cybernetic hand of Skywalker. Anakin squeezed with all of his might, but T'Challa stuck his claws into the heart of Skywalker. Anakin and T'Challa fell both injured, one far worse than the other, however. Anakin's eyes glowed yellow as T'Challa walked away victorious. The Black Panther wins. I was very close to writing T'Challa being force choked to death after puncturing Anakin's heart, but I decided not to because I feel like Anakin would just probably die pretty quickly because, he got impaled in the heart, kind of. But let me explain this fight. Anakin is a far better fighter. There's no doubt there, even with the advantages. T'Challa, given the advantages in the same scenario, I think he would win. Anakin would win 7 or 8 times out of 10. I feel this is the most likely outcome of a one-time fight in the scenario, but I feel like the most likely outcome, if they just fought once, would be Anakin succumbing to his arrogance and losing after he had the advantage for most of the fight. But like I said, same rules as in this video, Anakin would most likely dominate, but here Anakin's pride and ego were conquered by T'Challa's courage and resilience. At the end of the day, Anakin was fighting for greed and wasn't being motivated like a Jedi, but rather a Sith. T'Challa fought with the heart of a warrior. He fought for his people, for what he believed in, and was a defender and a protector. But anyways, tell me what you guys think of this fight in this video, and I will see you guys later.